Okay. Now we will come to the types of derivatives. So derivatives mainly consist of four basic contracts. One is your forwards, one is your futures, options, and swaps. Today we'll be learning all these four things in detail. Okay. Now we will go to a situation. Okay. So now what is the situation is now rupees 50 per, what will be the, okay, mangoes for rupees 50 per quintal. What shall be the price for this year? Now, he bought mangoes for rupees 100 quintal. What shall be the prices for this year? So what they're trying to tell is the farmer had the price. This is where the price risk associated with. Okay. So what will happen is at this point of time, the mangoes for 50 rupees per quintal was the prices this year they're questioning. So from the farmer end, the price is less, and from the business point of view, the price is more. So here what happened? He's thinking whether the price will increase or decrease. Okay. Here is where the price risk comes into picture. So finally, they will come to an end like he will be expecting for 50 and he will be expecting for 100. They will come to a conclusion, and after the conversation, they will give a deal for rupees 80. Now, in this situation, both are benefited. One, the farmer were expecting for to be 50 only, is getting plus 30 extra. The person, the business person, he thought he has to give it for 100 rupees, but he's convinced the other person to give it for 80 rupees, whereas 20 rupees is less. So this is how the trading is done in this situation. Okay. Now both will be happy. One side he will be ready to give the mangoes. One side he's ready to give the lesser amount of money, so that he can give. But both are having a tension that what if the businessman does not give me money? What if the farmers does not give me mango? Who will track the contract? Okay, here is where who will track the contract will come into example. We all have no. Now, is for generally when we are doing some online transactions, what if I don't get the same product? What if I get the defective product? But you're receiving something. But at that point of time, what if I don't get the thing though after I pay? So that is the thing that these both parties are having. One is, what if the businessman does not give me money? Will he cheat me? And he will take my mangoes and will he cheat me? The second one, what if the farmers does not give my money? Uh, give me my, sorry, give me my mangoes, which means I wanted mangoes. Why don't he, will he not give me, or will he give this to the other person? Or will he cheat me? These are the two end that they have the confusions. Then who will track the contract? Here comes a forward contract. So these are the promises to deliver an asset at a predetermined date in future at a predetermined price. So this is all the future contract is all about. So predetermined date, for example, today, for example, in the month of January, I'm going to tell that in the month of June or in the month of May or June, I will be giving you the mango. So this will become your predetermined date. You're fixing the date in the future at predetermined price. Now you know there is a demand for the prices of mango. So what you people have come in previous for 80 per kg per quintal. So what will happen here? You have decided predetermined date is like you're told in the month of January that you'll be giving in the month of June. And predetermined price was, though you had 50 rupees and 100 rupees, you came to a conclusion stating that you're going to give it for 80 rupees. This is how the forward contract plays a role. Now, forward contract, highly popular on currency and interest rate. The contract are traded over the counter outside the exchange rate directly between two parties. In this, you don't have any mediums of exchange. Directly the farmer and the businessmen. Here, that is how we do. Sometimes we go to a shop. Over the counter is nothing but we directly go to a shop. You like that product, you take it and you pay the money immediately, or you go order some thing and you will wait for the order to come and then you go pay them and you're getting back your things. This is how the forward contract will be there. So this is not traded on stock exchanges. Okay. And since the contract do not fall under any purview of rules and regulations of exchange, generally suffer counterparty risk. So as I told you, the risk is associated. What if you don't pay? What if you don't give me the mangoes? This risk can arise at this point of contract. This is your forward contract. Okay. So the two parties contract may not fulfill his or her obligation. Okay. This is a small example to say what in case if he gives and what in case if he don't gives. So future contract is an agreement between two parties to buy and sell an asset at a certain time in future at a certain price. These are basically exchange traded standardized contracts. The exchange stands a guarantee to all the transaction and counterparty risk is largely eliminated. The buyers of future contract are considered to have a long position, whereas the seller is considered to have a short position. So as a buyer, I am ready to wait. So it is a long position, but whereas the seller has to sell it in a very short period of time. That which means though you have all the things with you, you will have only very short time to sell the goods. So it should be noted that this is a similar to any asset. Okay, market where nobody who buys is long and who sells is short. Future contracts are available on varieties of commodities, currencies, interest rate, stocks, and other tradable assets. They are highly popular on stock indices, interest rates, and foreign exchange. This is just an example how they give it. So we saw what are the forwards and forward. Forward contracts is nothing but predetermined date and future at predetermined price. Future contract here, what happens is you have an agreement, okay, between two parties. So he is obligated to do that. So that is your future contract. Now today I will enter into a contract with the other person stating that I need mangoes at the end of June or May or June. So we are entering into a contract. So the farmer is obligated to only give it to me. But whereas in your forward contract, he can cancel the contract as well. So that is your difference between your forward and your futures. Next comes your option. This is a little bit, it is a kind of an, you generally know, for one question you have A, B, C as an option. How do you take one out of it? The same thing arises in this also. So you discover a house. So this is a situation that we are given for option. Okay? You discover a house that you had loved to purchase. Unfortunately, you won't have the cash to buy it for the another 3 months. Okay, you talk to the owner and negotiate a deal that gives you an option to buy the house in 3 months for a price of 2 lakh. Okay, the owner agrees, but if this but this option you pay a premium of 3,000. It is generally like how it happens in generally here. Now you like a house. Once you like a house, what you do, you could give a token advance, right? That is your premium. That is your 3,000 as a premium that you're going to give it to them. This is one situation. Okay. Now the consider two theoretical situation that might arise. Okay. Now you are ready to pay the 3,000 as your initial advance. That is your premium. Okay. Imagine the market value of the house skyrockets to 1 million. Because the owner sold you the option, he is obligated to sell you the house for 2 lakhs only. Okay, so though after a period of time, if the price increases, he's given you an option that you can give it to me after 3 months for the same price by giving the advance. So he's obligated. This is one situation. In the end of the year, you make a profit of 7,97,000 minus 2 lakh. So 1 lakh minus 2 lakh minus, so you totally you make a profit of 7,97,000 because the price was only 2, but it came up to 1 crore. So what happened? 7,97,000 sorry, 79 lakh 7,97,000 you got a profit. So what happened was it was only 2 lakh. All of a sudden they increased to 10 lakh. So difference between that with the premium when you're giving, you're getting a profit of your 7,97,000. Imagine the second scenario. Okay, while touring the house, you discover not only that the walls are chock full of asbestos, but also the ghost haunted the master bedroom. Furthermore, a family super intelligent rats have built a fortress in the basement. Okay, now you have these kind of situation like where it is very scary, whether you wanted to buy or no. So these kind of situations arises. Though you originally thought you had found the house of your dream, now you consider it worthless. Definitely no. Now what will happen? Now you saw the dream house, everything. But if you tell it is a haunted house, will you don't think one time before getting into that? So you will think whether should I buy or no. On the upside, because you bought an option, you are no obligation to go through the sale. Okay. Of course, you still use the 3,000 as your price option. Now, what we have given is two situations. One situation is where, as I am seller, I am ready to give my house for 2 lakhs I do. So, but you have to pay 3,000 as an initial advance. Once the initial advance is given to you, given to me, what will I do? I am obligated to sell that house to you only though the price increases. This is the first situation. Second situation is where because the house is haunted, I am not ready, or the other party is not ready to accept. But I have received a 3,000 of a token that you cannot, I will not give it back. So what happened? The advance is not given back. He can move out of the option. This is the second situation. The first example, this example demonstrates two very important ones. First, when you buy an option, you have right but not an obligation to do something. That is, you have a right. You have a right to that house because you have paid a premium, but you cannot do anything for that house because you have not paid the full amount of that. So you can always let the expiration date go by, which the option becomes worthless. So after 3 months of time, if you're paying that amount correctly, it becomes yours. Otherwise, it will become worthless. If this happen, you lose 100% of your investment, which is money you use to pay for option, which means 100%. For example, 3,03,000 is where you have given me. That is good done. Even in that, in case I tell first month I given you, or the first I have given you 3,000. Later I gave you 70,000. Then later I gave you. So I after that month of 3 months, what happens is if you're not given me the full 2 lakh money, 2 lakh rupees, I can cancel. I have the rights to cancel your option. Second option is it's merely a contract that deals with an underlying asset. What will be your underlying asset? Your house will be your underlying asset. For this reason, options are called derivatives. Okay, which means that option derives its value from something else. A house is an underlying asset. Okay. Now, option gives the buyer a right to hold, but not an obligation to buy or sell the asset in future. Options are of two types. So put two types. One is your call option. The second one is your put option. Call option gives the buyer the right, but not obligation to buy a given quantity of oil until the future date, which means see call option is nothing but I am going to buy a house. I have given you 3,000 advance until I pay after 3 months. If I pay you 2 lakh rupees until that expiration date, you cannot you have no right to buy or sell that house. Okay, that is known as your call option. Here, put option gives the buyer the right but not the obligation to sell the given quantity asset at a given price on or before given date. So now what happens is, though I gave the 3,000 rupees to that person, I can withdraw that. I can come out of it, but I cannot take that money. That is your put option. Okay. Call option gives the buyer. Put option gives the seller. That's all. Okay. One can buy and sell each of the contracts. When one buys an option, he's said to have a long position. When sells the option, he's said to have a short position that we learned in the previous video. It should be noted that in the first two types of derivative contracts, that is forwards and futures, both the parties, that is a buyer and seller, have an obligation. The buyer needs to pay for the asset to the seller, and the seller needs to deliver the assets to the buyer on the settlement date. In case of option, only the seller, also called as option writer, is under an obligation not to the buyer, also called as option purchase. The buyer has the right to buy, or the seller, that is called as call option. The seller, the put option, the asset form to sell the option, but he may not exercise the right. So now finally an option can be exercised at the expiry date or the contract period. Okay, on any time of so any time up to the expiry of contract period. So this is the basic thing. Call option is of buying and selling. Right for the option to buy. Okay, no option obligation, that is for the seller. So a call gives the holder the right to buy an asset, okay, at the certain price within the specified period of time. That is the first thing. As I told you, no, that is within the given 3 months of time if you're buying, that is the right. Calls are similar of having a long position on a stock. Buyers of call hope that the stock will increase substantially before the option expire. Now coming to put option. So call option is something, though the price increases, you have no other option. You have to give for the same price because you're obligated. That is your call option. When it comes to put option, a right for the option to sell, no obligation, no option, obligation to buy. So put option gives the holder the right to sell an asset. Okay. Okay, asset at a certain price within the specific period of time. It's almost the same. You have the right to sell your property for within the given period of time. Puts are similarly to having a short position on a stock. Buyers of put hope that price of stock will fall before the option expires. Okay, what they're trying to tell us, as I gave you the example, the house is haunted. Okay, that is my dream house. The house is haunted. So what will happen at that point of time is the value of that underlying asset will come down before your option expires. So either you will move out of the option, okay, you will move out of that asset, or you will accept. That's all. Okay. Participants are buyers of calls, buyers of puts, sellers, and these buyers will be the holders, sellers will be the writers. Holders will, as I told you, holders will always have a long position. Sellers, that is, the buyers will have a longer position and sellers will have a short position. Here's some difference, distinction between the buyers. Call holders and put holders are obligated to buy or sell. They have choice to exercise their right if they choose. Okay. Called writers or put writers, however, are obligated to sell. This means that the seller may be required to make a good on a promises to buy or sell. Now see, because see when you're holder, that is when I'm purchasing something, what happens is I can it's still the expiry date, I have a right to buy that. But whereas the seller, when he's obligated to sell to certain person, he's only obligated to do, though the price increases or the price decreases, it's still the person, it's a certain period of time. Strike price is an underlying stock, can be purchased or sold at the price. And this stock price must go above for calls and go below for puts for before positioning can be exercised for a profit. So this is nothing but generally how do we go. Now we would have bought it for some 1 lakh. Now, when you're selling it for the seller, so always you have to make for the seller to have a profit, and well as the buyers to have a profit. Okay. At that point of time, you have to see, you make sure that they are gaining profits equally. For call option, when the option strikes below the market price of the underlying asset. Okay. I think you can go through this example as well. So I hope you people all understood how and derivatives work. That is, what are the various derivatives, that is from forward, futures, then you have option. And in coming videos, we will talk more about the swaps. Okay. Thank you.